What's going on, everybody? It's your Baltimore Brick Boy again with a set that I'm actually super excited to build. Set number 75881. It's the 2016 Ford GT and the 1966 Ford GT40. It's part of the New Speed Champions series that just came out recently. I am ecstatic to be building this and to get the other sets part of the series. As you can see, it's a set that has two vehicles, and if you see here in the back, it's a podium with a trophy and a flag waver. First, a little history of the Ford GT and the GT40. Pretty much the GT40, which was the original, started back in the 60s as a Le Mans car. So basically what had happened was back in the 60s, it was Ford was actually going to buy Ferrari, the whole company. And Ferrari was broke, they had no money, and they agreed that Ford was going to buy them. Once, the amount was agreed on, Ford flew over to Italy. They met up, and what had happened was when they were there and Ferrari went to sign the paperwork, Ferrari decided no. They got up and walked out. They said, we're not going to sell. And, tough. Thanks for coming. See you later. So, of course, the executives at Ford were upset, really upset. And they said, you know what? We're going to hit them where it hurts. We're going to build a car, and we're going to beat them at one of the biggest races in the world. And that is the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Just a little backstory of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's exactly that. It's a 24-hour race where a car needs to be fast and, most importantly, reliable. So they built the prototype, and back in the 60s, I think they lost the first couple times Ford, and eventually, I believe it was in like the late 60s already. I think it was in 68 or 69. They crushed Ferrari. They actually got a first, second, and third place finish. Pretty much made the car what it is today. And with this set, it's the 1966 and the 2016 version, which is celebrating 50 years of the Ford GT. So yeah, that's pretty much the history of why this set is so significant, especially to a car lover like myself. That I like to look up the history of these vehicles and things like that, and it shows the old Le Mans, and that's the actually new Le Mans Ford GT. The car is currently in GT racing, and it has done the 24-hour Le Mans already, I believe. You look here at the top of the box, it's got the flag guy, the current GT car racer, and a vintage GT car. He has that off-white suit, and you see the current racer with his cool shades and a more modern-looking race suit. And here on the back, it's pretty much what it is. You see the mechanic working on the Ford GT40. You see them changing the tire of the Ford GT. Little handshake there between the old school driver and the new driver. The little finish line action, podium, and those are the pictures of the two cars. Yeah, so you can see they look very similar. Because I do remember back in the mid-2000s, Ford again made the Ford GT, and it was only for a few years. It actually became a really big collector's item, and it looks very similar. So if you look online, you're watching the video, Google search, mid-2000, I think it was a 2004, 2005 Ford GT, and you'll see that they look very similar. So it's actually really cool. Even though the new one uses all modern technology, it's I think it's only a V6 with a turbo EcoBoost, which is a big deal with Ford, and blah blah blah. So yeah, so that's the back of the box. Really cool. Nothing really else. So let's pop it open. first thing that we have. Bag number 2. Seems to be red, white, and blue pieces, so that's most likely the Ford GT. A nice hefty sheet of stickers. The one thing about these Speed Champions is that there's a lot of stickers to show all the detail of the car, especially these being race cars. They have a lot of striping, a lot of little, logos and brands and sponsors and all that stuff. So that explains the heavy use of stickers. Next thing I pulled out is book number 1. Let's see what else we got. Book number 2. And bag number 1. So this is a 2-bag set. This is black, blue. So this is going to be obviously the original GT. And that's it. For such a large box, has less bags than usual. Usually, I get the other sets that I've been doing, and it's has three bags, some of them even 4. But yeah, let's get building. Okay, so that set took a little longer than I expected. Overall, really cool set. I was actually excited the whole time to build it, mainly because of what they are. Starting with the modern GT. Um, my favorite part is the wing. I always like these big GT wings. I think it's cool how they integrated the way it's set up. Really cool. The exhaust system on the back. Rear diffuser, tail lights, and also the air intakes. They actually use the hinge piece to make that angle. The front, not really too crazy about, but overall, I love how the shape of the car shows these wide hips that pretty much just directs air into the engine. But my absolute favorite was the original GT, mainly because of all the clever little tricks that they used to make the nose. They used a hinge piece that smacks goes into the rest of the car to make that very sharp pointy angle up at the front. The exhaust system, very similar to how the original GT was. It was just this exhaust that used to stick really far out the back. Not really sure why they did a hinge piece here. Might be a design purpose that I've never noticed on the car itself. Also, the back glass is another really cool piece that is also a hinge. So you put the driver in, you close it up, and then the hinge comes down to make that perfect rear sweeping glass. The air intakes on the back also are hinges that just go straight down, and that was where the air intakes that the car had. Wheels on these are pretty cool. You see that I didn't do that great of a job with the stickers. Except this side. This side actually came out all right. This side right here, I might have to adjust these two. Cool wheels. The classic vintage wheels with the center hubcap. Yeah. Podium is pretty cool. It's got a first, second, and third with a little Ford banner in the back. The vintage driver gets a cool trophy. Looks like a like a torch on top or a cupcake or something. Yeah, and that's a better look at him. Happy that he won. And the modern GT driver, pretty cool. He's got the little racing outfit with the Sparko belt and all that cool stuff. So yeah, that was pretty much the set. Stay tuned. I will be building the other Speed Champions when the time comes. Probably gonna do the smaller sets. They got little individual cars that I think they're relatively inexpensive, and then I also see that they have the FXXK by Ferrari testing center. Most likely be building that in the future, and just make sure you guys hit the subscribe button at the bottom, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.